right out and tell you. You know? So 602.2 and 602.5. We have those tables. So we'd have to go and dig those up out of the manual over there. Here's 602, but now it's 602.2. So we would need to look there. There are all these different tables that's in the big code book. So, all right. That's pretty much how it goes. You know, you got to look at the tables. You got to look up what you're doing. You got to then research other sources. Be sure that it's reliable, that it's keyed to, you know, if it's providing additional information, that it has a reference to or keyed to International Building Code section. All right. Now, number 5, the most important purpose of the model code. Now, that's way to go. Exactly. That is the most important purpose. It has a lot of other purposes. You know, control quality standards for buildings, making them livable, comfortable type of structures. Number 6, use the drawing below and the International Building Code to determine the maximum size allowed for a one-story building without a fire sprinkler. Assume an occupancy of E. So that would be a what? What's an E? Educational. All right. Good, Thomas. And a building type of 2A. So, you know, it's going to have some combustible materials.
Yeah, so that's 26,500 like paper.
For what?
For what?
Yeah, for what? What number? What?
I'm looking at group E type 2A. That's
Mm-hmm. But the maximum size. What's the maximum size? Okay, without a fire sprinkler. Now the building right now, the footprint of it is 5,760. Okay, so let's look at that chart. So we're looking at area, right? Go back to that old table we were in a while ago. Heights and areas. So it's a E, right? Type 2A, right? So how many stories can we have? All right. So let's see. I pushed the wrong button then. It's going to open up something. All right, so get my little calculator out, and I go 3 times 2AE, 26,500. Okay, I come up with 79,500 square feet. All right, but there is no sprinkler. Okay, it doesn't have a fire sprinkler system. So what do we got to do? If you look at page 84, the description of the table, the basic size and height of a structure is affected by the fire resistance. The architect must consider the materials of construction. Type 1A is the most restrictive construction, meaning the materials are used are least likely to burn. BB is the less restrictive. Okay, so we understand now what that table does for us. Alright, so we're basically going to be applying the code. The building is to be a professional office building. 2 stories, 30,000 square feet on each floor from table 4-1, which is a summary of that. List office buildings, type B. Now it is determined how to achieve 30,000 square feet per floor, referring to figure 4.9. And we've seen that only type 1A, type 1B, type 2A, type 6 IV construction have large enough basic allowable areas. These types of constructions are relatively expensive. Therefore, less costly answers should be explored. As mentioned earlier, the basic allowable area can be increased by installing fire sprinklers and by having large yards. So what you got to do is put it through this pace here, this little problem. Okay, you got to work it through your problem, work through this calculation like it's showing here. Okay, so let's see here. Now, we'll look at section 506 on page 82. Building areas limited by 503 shall be permitted to be increased due to frontage. Okay, so table 503. Let's find that table. Where's 503? 503. It's on here somewhere, isn't it? Oh, it's over here. Oh, that's our allowable building heights and areas. Okay. Where was I? I was reading somewhere. Where was I reading from? Oh, here. Okay. Now it must be determined how to achieve 30,000 square feet per floor, referring to figure 4.9, table 503. Right. As mentioned earlier, the basic allowable area can be increased by installing fire sprinklers and by having large yards. Based on figure 4-7, the building size can be increased if it has enough of its walls fronting on yards larger than 20 feet. So, what I'm asking is, when we're looking at the allowable building heights and areas, okay, what is a type A and what is a type B? When you say type 1A, in this case, it's just the occupancy of E. Alright? And we're supposed to be a type 2A. Alright? So what is the A? What does the A mean? Alright? mentions it here. It can be seen that construction types with an A following it are required to be more fire resistant than those with a B. Alright, so now we know what the A is. It's got to be more fire resistant. Okay. Since it's an A. So if it's more fire resistive, then then the square footage should be bigger. So we look over here, type 2A for a E is 26,500 square feet, and if it was a B, it would be only 14,000, almost half. I mean, a little more than half of the square footage allowed. So it reduces quite a bit, doesn't it? And it looks like, I can only have 2 stories compared to 3. Okay? So you multiply the number of stories allowed, that would be the maximum. Right? But there is a restriction when you don't have fire protection, when you don't have a sprinkler system. So my question to you is that table that we're looking at giving us the square footage of 26,500, is that considering that it has a sprinkler system, or is it considering it does not? Does that 26,500 foot rating include a sprinkler system? All right, look down at the bottom of the table in the fine print. A, is there a subscript A anywhere? No. No, it's just a note. See the following sections for general exceptions to Table 503. Section 504.1, allowable building height and story increase. Section 506.2, allowable building area increase due to street frontage. 506.3, allowable building increase due to automatic sprinkler system installation. So what can you deduce by reading those 3 notes? What would that tell you? About the square footage you're seeing there. Okay? Use your logic. Think about it. What does this mean about the numbers for area that you're seeing on here and height? And area. So we're supposed to use 506.3, allowable building area increase due to automatic sprinkler system installation. So therefore, what can you say about these numbers that's on here? Non-sprinklered. Very good. Okay? So these, see how you got to pick the table apart? It's not just going to jump out and tell you. I mean, I wished it would, but it doesn't tell you. I wished it would say up here at the top, the areas shown here are without a sprinkler. But it doesn't. That would be a nice thing, but they're not nice. They're probably put together by mean engineers or something, So, you'll laugh about that someday when you, after you work somewhere about 10 years. 506.3 then is what we want to look at. Alright, so we're looking down through here. Here's 506. Here's automatic sprinkler increase. So if we add a sprinkler, then we'll come back to here.